British Prime Minister says the next 2 are critical in the Iranian hostage crisis right now. Joining us is the author of The Bomb Scare, The History and Future of Nuclear Weapons, Joseph Cirincione, Senior Vice President for National Security and International Policy for the Center for American Progress. Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure, Edie.
So why all of a sudden these 48 hours critical?
Well, you see how the rhetoric on both the British and the Iranian side have de-escalated. There are very few statements by either side. There's no demonstrations today in Tehran. That's clearly a sign of back channel communications going on. The British are, in a sense, telling us that they are very close to securing the release of their hostages. And in this context, it doesn't help for anyone, including President Bush, to escalate the rhetoric. What you want to do now is keep things calm and keep a deal that seems to be in the works on track.
You know, the Iranians said they weren't going to release any more of these videotaped statements about, from the British sailors and Marines about how they had, gone into the Iranian water. And then all of a sudden we see the new photographs being released. Why is there a difference?
Well, there's a struggle that goes on inside the Iranian government now. This is not a dictatorship like Kim Jong-il's North Korea or Saddam Hussein's Iraq. There are different factions, including the Revolutionary Guard, that seized these sailors in the first place. So you might be seeing that struggle played out with a certain group releasing the photos. Don't think about this as a carefully controlled or choreographed series of events inside the Iranian government. It's much more tumultuous than that.
Why haven't we heard more international protest about the violations of the Geneva Convention?
I think what you're seeing here is a calculated attempt by the British to calm things down. They're not really looking for to escalate the crisis. And in a case in point here that we can learn from is what happened to the United States 6 years ago this week when President Bush confronted the Chinese forced landing of a U.S. spy plane that had drifted into Chinese airspace. The Chinese held as captives 24 U.S. crewmen. At first there was harsh rhetoric on both sides. Then things calmed down. President Bush issued a statement of regret and then even an apology for the incident, and that secured the release of the 24 crewmen within 11 days. I think the British are trying to follow a similar pattern.
You mentioned Americans. What about this American we're hearing about now? Very little information. He is a retired, but by a number of years, retired FBI employee. He is now he's disappeared from Kish Island over in the Middle East.
All the information we have on that is that he was on purely personal business. He was a consultant for a group that was doing a documentary, and he went to this island, which he's allowed to do, and then has disappeared from that island. So far, there's no indication that this was at all related to any kind of U.S. Spy activity or covert activity. As far as we know, this does seem to be a genuinely independent individual that is in some tragic circumstances at this point. We don't know what yet.
Okay, Joseph Cirincione, Center for American Progress, thank you very much.
Thank you.